This is Trash Panda Publishing. Thank you for joining our podcast, where raccoons talk about books and publishing, and of course, anything related to raccoons. It might help if I turn the microphone on. Hi, everybody. I'm David James, the host of Trash Panda Publishing. It's been a while since I've recorded. Lulu and I recorded, I think it was last Saturday night. There was a period of time when I was recording like every 2 days. I really enjoyed that. And then life got super busy. And I didn't record for 2 days. Today is Friday, February 13th. I am recording today, and Lulu and I will record tomorrow. Today is episode 20. And, when I wanted to do a podcast years ago, I didn't even know what I was going to talk about. The idea of a podcast sounds so cool. When I was a kid, back in the 70s and 80s, my mom used to go to her friend's house to get her hair cut in her kitchen. I don't know how common that was, but for us, the neighbor cut our hair, and we paid her. It wasn't like it was free. And we'd go over there, and while I was waiting my turn, her son, which was 2 years older than me, he had a cassette recorder, the kind that was connected to the radio. Not a boom box, but the kind of thing you would get at Sears and Roebuck, or J.C. Penney's. I can't remember if Penney's was even around back then, but it would sit in your like a receiver, if you will, a radio receiver, and it had a tape deck built into it. I don't even know if they make these things anymore. But it also had a microphone connected to a mixer, which would be like today what a DJ booth would look like. Which is ridiculously high revolution, or high tech for, I guess it was probably 1982. And I was blown away by this. And he was basically making radio shows in his bedroom. He wasn't broadcasting them anywhere, but he was making them on cassette tape. So what he would do is he would plug in the microphone. He would then record himself either reporting the weather. He'd have the newspaper in front of him, the Washington Post, and he would report the weather. He would then report, the sports. Then he would turn the radio on and play a song from the radio and record it on this cassette tape. And then when the song was over, he would come back like it was a radio program and do what I'm doing, talk about nothing or whatever for a couple of minutes, interview his sister like she was a celebrity, and then play another couple of songs like it was an actual radio show. And he would record all this on a cassette tape, and then he gave it to me. And he would make these tapes all the time. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he went on to become Howard Stern for all I know. My dog is barking. Yes, Billy fell down the well. We've been down this road many times. Billy can't stay out of the well. I get it. But ever since then, that was 1982, I've always had this fascination with radio. Never done anything about it. Even when podcasting became a thing, I never did anything about it. But I am now. And I make this little list of things I wanted to go over when I do have these little shows. And for today, I wanted to talk about the idea of community. And for me, I'm talking about writing community. There are so many Facebook groups that you can be in for whatever topic you want. If you just go into Facebook and just type search in the group section, whatever you're interested in, whether it's puzzles, dogs, horses, sewing, cooking, whatever, you name your hobby, and there's a group or hundreds of groups for it. For writing, no different. And I had joined, I'm just looking at my groups list right now. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 writing groups that I'm in. And I'll just give you an example. One of these groups is called Authors Supporting Authors. This group has 144,000 people in it. And honestly, I don't know anybody in here. People post, this group might have like 50 posts a day, maybe even more than that. They just scroll by too fast. And no one's communicating with each other. It's like they post a picture of their book, everybody likes it, and then the next person posts a picture of their book, everybody likes it. It's not a dialogue. It's more like commercials. And I lost interest. I haven't left the group. I don't know why. I did turn off notifications because I got sick and tired of seeing people's book covers. And I'm going to talk about that in a second, what book covers are all about in a minute. Then there's another one called Indie Fantasy Addicts. Well, theoretically, this group are the type of people who would read my book. This has got 10,000 members in it. I'm a member of it only to monitor what kind of books people are sharing with each other, which ones are popular. Again, it is like people posting links to books. Everybody likes it. There really isn't a lot of dialogue. Occasionally, someone will say, hey, I really like that book. But it's not a community so much as it's like a bulletin board for links. Now, because I wrote a book, I think it's totally unethical for me to post a link saying, hey, read my book. And first of all, a lot of these groups actually prohibit you from even doing that. You're not supposed to market your book. But I do monitor. I don't get, the notifications are turned off on this one too. But I do see kind of what's trending. And it used to be earlier or last year was werewolves just drove me nuts. It appears now to be kiddie stuff. What I mean by that, like cats and dogs and the personification of animals. And I can't criticize that because my next book is the same thing. Then I'm in a group called Writers Helping Writers. This has got 682,000 members. And I don't know how much help is going on in here. There is a little bit more dialogue. But there's also, there was some hate going on in here earlier today where people are arguing about the difference between traditional publishing and what's called vanity publishing and self-publishing and hybrid publishing. And I'm not going to go into that stuff now. We'll do that on another podcast. But at least there was more dialogue. But the problem is there's 600,000 plus people in here. And I'm just looking, here's a member whose name is anonymous. How are you supposed to become friends with a person whose name is anonymous? I'm just saying. I don't think I could probably find my spot in a group like that. I'm not going to do this for every group, but I'm going to do a couple more that are much smaller. I'm in a group called Scriptorium, a human-made author collective. This is a private group. You have to be invited to it. It has 47 members. This one is more of a community because it's invite only, and people in here are a lot more personal with their posts. They talk about what they're working on. In some cases, they're talking about struggles they've had meeting word count, or what book they're working on, what project they're working on, or where they're writing, or even questions about, like I posted in here an example of how my workflow works with a picture of like how I plot out my books. And people interacted with that, but not as much as I would like. Another group that I'm in is called Fellowship of Human Authors. Let me find that one. This is my favorite one. There's 31 members in this. This is also a private group, has to be invite only. And my best writing friends are in this group. I would say there's like 5 people in here who I talk to. When I say talk to, I mean DM, private message, check in to see how they're doing. Many of them have shared, the kind of things you would talk to with an actual friend in real life, sitting in a coffee shop, not just, hey, here's a picture of my book. And now we're getting into community. Yes, I get it. The dog. Billy fell down a well. I hope you guys can't hear my dog. I'm back. I'm waiting for a UPS truck to drop off this box that they've been trying to drop off for days. It requires a signature. And it is almost 8 o'clock. The delivery window says 9 o'clock. I feel bad for a driver who's still driving around at 9 o'clock. That's terrible. But the dog, every time a dog barks, I'm hopeful that the truck is coming, but no, it has not arrived. Anyways, where was I? Community. This group, again, has, I would say, my closest relationships on Facebook. But here's the problem. Nothing wrong with the people in the group, but because it's a private group, it doesn't grow. And I'm struggling with, okay, how do you make it grow? Absent staying in one of those groups with 600,000 people and hoping that you stumble across somebody that's nice and you might think would do okay in one of these private groups, and like inviting them to come join this group, it kind of reminds me of back when I was in college or law school. You're in a bar. Let me back up. You know that there's going to be an after-hours party at your friend's house, but you know that you're only going to be able to have like 10 people there because the apartment's not that big. The bar closes at 2. But you're in the bar, and the bar's got 200 people in it. and you decide, there's it's loud music, and it's impossible to really get to know anybody. But maybe you see someone in there who, I'm going to use the word attractive. I know that's stupid for the purpose of my analogy, but we'll say that you're attracted to somebody. And you say, hey, we're having an after hours party in this apartment down the street when the bar closes. Why don't you come with me? And they come with you, they come into your apartment, and they turn out to be an axe murderer and kill all of you. In effect, to some extent, that is what could happen if you invite someone who is crazy or just unstable or does not understand the importance of what we are trying to keep going in one of these small private groups into a small private group, someone who wrecks the chemistry. The other hand, if you don't add new people, the group will never grow. And Facebook works. People don't log in. There are some people who join the groups, and I'm a good example. I join all kinds of groups and never post and forget that I'm even a member. So I really can't criticize people for doing that because I do it. But when you have a small group and people do that, then the group is even smaller. So I'm on the fence. I'm one of the moderators in this group. So it's like, is my job to fish, go and stay in these big groups and in effect look for new members? I'm not know what the answer is. If you have thoughts, ping me. If you're in the group and you're listening, ping me in Facebook and let's talk about it. All right. I did read a book, and I'm going to write a review on it. I haven't written the review yet because I just finished the book last night. It is called Paper World, and it is from Maureen Cummins, and it is not in Kindle yet, although she and I were chatting about getting her book into Kindle, and I think she's probably going to do it. Right now, it's only paperback, and it is fantastic. I don't want to. I got to be careful how I review this because if I say too much, it will ruin your reading experience, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to try to summarize why I found it so fascinating. First of all, it's told in first person. I love books in first person. I like to write in first person, and Stephen King, who is one of my favorite authors, writes in first person, and he's a master of it. And this book is written masterfully. The writing is easy to read. It's engaging, and it's really, really emotional. The character in the story, her name is Brett Kane, and she's 25 years old. She's about to get married. That's how the book starts. And I'm not giving anything away here because this is on the back of the book. Her life literally just starts collapsing around her. Everything that she's planned on. She has a perfect life, and then it completely falls apart. Everything goes wrong in a very, very bad way. And it's heartbreaking. It is just heartbreaking. My heart was racing as I was reading this book. And anyone who's read Nobody's Girl by Virginia Guthrie, I think is how you pronounce her last name, one of the Epstein victims, I highly recommend reading it. It's sickening. I feel so awful for what she went through. And of course, obviously the hundreds, if not thousands of other women that have went through and are probably still going through this with some man out there. It's sickening. I'm so grateful that she had enough guts to come forward and reveal that. And I know, unfortunately, she committed suicide, which is just an awful way to end what, she survived hell. And if you read the book, again, I highly recommend reading her book. She survived hell. She had somewhat normal life. She found a husband and had children, but her battle with the demons and fighting back didn't end. It became her life's mission. And she succeeded ultimately, of course she doesn't know this, in getting him put behind bars. And unfortunately she died. But she describes in pretty graphic detail what she went through physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I felt physically ill. I felt scared for her while reading it. And of course, I know it's over. You already know how it ends, but you can't help, at least I couldn't help, but feeling nervous. And that means that she has done, Virginia did a very good job explaining and transferring the emotions that she was experiencing to the reader. That's a sign of a good writer. Why do I stop and spend all that much time talking about Nobody's Girl? Because Maureen Cummins has done the same type of thing here. Now, it's not, please don't get me wrong, this is not an Epstein book. She's not a victim of an Epstein situation. But she went through hell. And she is able in her writing to transfer the hell that she went through to us as the reader. And I felt sick for her. My heart broke for her character, Brett. And I felt nervous the same way I did with Nobody's Girl. And I highly recommend that you read it. You have to buy it on paperback right now, or you can wait until she brings it out on Kindle, hopefully in March. I am going to write a review and post it on Amazon. I'll put a link to this book in the podcast description. Again, it's called Paper World from Maureen Cummins. Okay, Mailchimp. We've talked about Mailchimp, which is the web service. I'm sorry, my dog keeps barking. I wish I would tell you that the UPS truck is here. It is not. Back to Mailchimp. Mailchimp is a website where you can send out newsletters, and also, well, primarily that's what it's for. And I signed up for that thing, maybe 3 weeks ago. And I had 13 people on my mailing list, and like half of them were me with my various email addresses. And I've been doing newsletter swaps with other people on Story Origin, and I'm now up to 57 emails, meaning the newsletter swaps are working, which is great. So I'm just reporting that Story Origin does do what it advertises that it can do, which is to swap emails. Now, what does it mean when you actually get 57 emails? How did that happen? That means that my book was highlighted in somebody else's newsletter. That author sent their newsletter out to their readers, and in that newsletter was my book with a link. And either I was giving it like 3 chapters away free, or I was offering a sale, or I literally gave the book away free, or they were just telling their readers that my book was on Kindle Unlimited. I choose which of those 4 sort of options I'm offering. And I chose all 4 in different newsletters. I was in 4 different newsletters. And basically that means because I had 13 people on the list already, and I'm at 57, whatever the difference in that math is, it was 40-something people. That means 40-something odd people clicked my book, and when they do that, that means they join my mailing list. There's a box that pops up that says, if you want this book, then you have to agree to be on Trash Panda Publishing mailing list, and they have to click yes. If they do that, then they can download the book, or they can download the free sample, or whatever I just told you happens. That means 40-something odd people did that, and that's fantastic. I have been getting reviews, I would say almost every day. I'm up to 117 reviews now, and today is day 61 of my book's birthday, which is amazing. And I have a streak. I have yet to have a day where I didn't have a sale or a Kindle Unlimited read, which is, there's going to come a day where I don't have either, but yet so far I have a streak going where I have always had both or one or the other. And it's very exciting. And also reviews. To have 117 reviews after 60 days is pretty darn good. It's amazing to me. I think from a book quantity perspective, there's over 412 books sold. You can't, and of the reviews, I think it's around 80 that are verified. So that's like roughly 1 in 4, maybe not quite 1 in 4, 1 in 5 that are leaving reviews of the purchased ones, and then the rest would be Kindle Unlimited people, which is probably maybe 1 in 10. I don't know if those are good stats for reviews or not. Like, I don't know whether that's high or low, but to me, it's astronomically high. I'm super thrilled. So I share that with you because the bigger my mailing list gets, that means the more people are potentially downloading the book, which means the more potential reviews I get. And supposedly, the way the algorithms work, the more reviews, the more downloads you get, the more reads you get, supposedly Amazon will circulate your book higher up in the in the search engine results. Now you can buy your way up, and I do run $5 a day ads. I'm not convinced that actually is doing anything. I haven't really got that many sales as a result of that. But I'm fearful of stopping that, so I haven't turned it off. But it's not like I'm getting my sales through there. I think I've only sold 6 books to those ads. I got a lot more clicks from Facebook ads, but I can't tell whether those turn into sales because they're not inside the Amazon environment. Anyways, I don't even know where I was going with all that. Oh, Mailchimp. If you are trying to get publicity to your book, do the same thing I'm doing. Go create a free Mailchimp account. They are free up until you have 1,000 people on your list. And ask people to sign up. And if you have a marketing budget and you're spending, I can't remember how much Story Origin is a month. I'll get the price and tell you. There's a monthly subscription. But this will, and then you start swapping your newsletter with other people's newsletters to do exactly what I'm doing. Within literally 3 weeks, I went from 13 to 57. And in 2 weeks, I do another round of these things, and I'm hoping to get to 100. And if it's like 50 people every time, then by summer, I might have 400 or 500 people on my list. And the hope is that now 50 or 100 people are downloading my book every time a newsletter goes out. And that could lead to a lot of reads, or better yet, a lot of sales. Anyways, that's just my tip of the day. Now, for our chapter of the day, I have been waiting to do this book for a long time because I only have it in physical form. And it is from somebody that I highlighted on my blog back on Christmas Day. Her name is Heather Russell Kay. She is, I believe, from England. And she is amazing because she, besides being an author, she runs a tutoring company that teaches English and drama at the primary and secondary levels. She helps with test prep for what is called Kent 11. This must be, I'm going to guess it must be like SAT prep. She also teaches philosophy and helping develop confidence in her students. And she also runs drama groups for people living with MS and other chronic illnesses. And she provides spaces for creativity and connection and self-expression and joy for individuals that are grappling with those challenges. And and we're going to read a chapter from her book called Whispers Through the Forest today. And the reason I bought this book is because all the proceeds from this book are going to MS charities. And I wanted to support her work there. The book itself is, and I'm looking at this on Amazon, the premise of the book is also pretty cool. She says, what if, it's about fairy tales, but she's taking a twist on fairy tales. What if fairy tales you thought you knew were hiding secrets? In this collection, classic tales are twisted into stories of magic, shadow, and resilience. From kingdoms where hope must be fought for, to forests where dangers lurk through every corner. These stories explore pain, the humor, and the unexpected strength that comes with living with chronic illness. They're dark, they're whimsical, and they're heartfelt. This anthology will make you shiver, smile, and see happily ever after in this entirely new light. And again, she says all proceeds from this book are being donated to the MS Society, the MS Trust and Shift, and MS to help support those living with MS. I think all 3 of those must be charities. And I love fairy tales, first of all. But this one, and we're going to read something called Dorma's Beauty, which is chapter 1. That's what she suggested that we read. That's what I'm going to read today. It is 107 pages. This book was published October 9 of 2025. It is available on Kindle, but I bought it in paperback because I assumed that there was a higher revenue, royalty thing there, and I wanted to make certain that she got whatever the biggest gift was, if you will, to go to the charities. I have a physical piece that I'm holding in my hand. The cover is black and white, and it shows a woman, makes me think of Red Riding Hood, walking into a forest that Looks kind of ominous. There is a fox almost with a bigger than normal head on it that kind of looks almost like a cat. It's scary looking, I guess is what I'm going for here. It's looks evil. It definitely doesn't look friendly. It's not one of the cute foxes, let's put it that way. All right. Let's begin. So chapter 1, Dorma's Beauty. I got to get my readers on because I'm not reading on a computer screen, I'm reading on a book. Each chapter, by the way, has a picture that begins the chapter, and this chapter has a very sort of, it's black and white. It has, not quite a castle, I would call it a manor that has spires. It looks very fairy tale-ish, like the kind of house that would be in like Sleeping Beauty, where a fairly well-off family would live, but deep in the woods. It's not in a city. It's nestled in a bunch of trees, but it doesn't have a castle wall around it. But it looks quite nice. It's 3-story, number of rooms. I would call it a mansion. All right. Well, I'm wrong because the first sentence of the book says castle, so this is meant to be a castle. So I stand corrected. Chapter 1. Many, many years ago, a noble king and queen lived in a magnificent castle deep within the wild forests of Samnum. They possessed everything they desired: wealth, land, and happiness. Yet one thing was missing from their lives: a child. After many seasons, their wishes were eventually granted, and they became devoted parents to a beautiful baby girl named Dorma. In celebration, they invited people from all across the land to a great feast, and before its conclusion, magical gifts were bestowed upon the infant princess: virtue, beauty, and wealth. But the most important gift had not been presented: the gift of health. Dorma grew more and more beautiful with each passing day. Her kindness shone brightly like a beacon of light. Everyone who met her adored her, and soon she became the talk of the kingdom. Nothing seemed able to hinder her until the age of her 15th birthday, when she was suddenly submerged by suffocating sleepiness. She retired to her bed, her family convinced that the excitement of the day had simply overwhelmed her. Yet drowsiness persisted. Dorma could manage little more than to sit at her window for a few moments a day before being forced back to the confines of her bed. The days passed, and the talk of overexcitement or lingering cold faded, and in their place whispered suspicions that crept into the castle's corners. Perhaps she was simply being lazy. Of course, the finest doctors in the land were summoned to examine her, who now could not even muster up the energy to lift herself from her bed. Her body betrayed her, and yet, upon inspection, none of the physicians could discover a cause. After every examination, from her bed, Dorma heard them muttering, even chuckling to themselves. A young girl who doesn't wish to do her chores, they said. Not uncommon, they said. 15-year-olds can be difficult. Or, as some others suggested, perhaps she was just being dramatic, a touch of tiredness, and she claimed she cannot move. The doctors always left with a lightness of tone in their voices and a shake of their heads. The castle's suspicions, no longer whispered, grew louder. And Dorma, with her tears, a cold river streaming down her cheeks, continued to sleep. Her parents, exasperated by her weakness and prolonged inactivity, began to grow cold towards her, and still Dorma slept, as the shadow of sadness enveloped her. Exactly 1 year after Dorma's 15th birthday, her parents resolved to find a young prince to marry their daughter. At least then the castle's future would be secure. Many princes came, and each wrenching fresh tears of despair from Dorma's eyes as they mocked her silently with their amused glances. They all saw the silly little girl trying to gain attention, No one listened when she tried to explain her endless tiredness. One by one they departed, resigned to the fact that they would not wed the Sleeping Beauty. They carried away rumors instead, for though her parents longed for her marriage, even they would not force their weeping daughter into such misery. After each rejection, Dorma sank further beneath of the heavy folds of darkness, each breath a struggle against its suffocating hold. One sunny day, a handsome prince happened to pass the castle. Thirsty, he inquired whether he might drink from the spring outside the great doors. The guards readily agreed, and at the same moment, the elegant queen, pondering her daughter's fate, crossed the courtyard. Her eyes fell upon the young gentleman, and she hurried over. She could not let the chance slip by. Intrigued, and having long heard whispers of Dorma's beauty, he agreed. He was curious, too, for no one had seen her in many months, and the rumors of her laziness lingered. Following the queen, he moved swiftly through the castle. Entering the chamber, he was greeted by the sight of Dorma, her pale, pretty head resting on her soft pillows, sleeping yet another day that he felt to her like 100 years. A soft cough escaped him. Dorma's eyes fluttered slowly open, and her heart sank. Yet another prince had come to mock her. "Please leave," she whispered. "I know what you all think, but none see how I am a prisoner to sleep, destined to be alone, shut away from the world as it moves on without me." But this prince did not chuckle. He did not shake his head, nor raise his brows in disbelief. Instead, he sat by her bed and lightly took her hand and gazed into her tear-filled eyes. "What do you want?" he asked softly. A terrible understanding rolled through him. He knew this kind of sleep. He had watched it consume someone he once loved. "I want to be free from this prison," she breathed. "I want to stand among the living again. But most of all, I want to be believed." His fingers curled around hers, not hard, but with a quiet vow in it. A beat that felt like centuries. Then 3 words left him, fragile but unshakable. And Dorma's heart, for the first time in years, remembered how to hope. "I believe you." And that is the end of chapter 1. That is excellent. Obviously, it is a different version of Sleeping Beauty. And I don't know exactly, and I'm not up on all of the various chronic illnesses. I don't know which chronic illness that is. So Heather, maybe you can tell us or tell me, and I will announce it on the next show, which is tomorrow. What illness is that? Is that MS, chronic fatigue, or is that something different that you are talking about in that story? But it doesn't matter. The fact that she's not believed and that people think she's being lazy, particularly as a teenager, I could see how that. I was a parent. I am a parent, and when my kids were teenagers, there was a lot of laying around, and they weren't chronically sick. So of course I chalked it up to other things. I won't say laziness on the air. They might be listening, but I could see how a parent could say that, not knowing better, and I could see how a child that hears enough of that could end up feeling not believed, and how that might crush one's spirit. And I'm just, as I say this out loud, I'm starting to get sad. But as I think through just reading your bio, Heather, your work to bring joy and a release to people facing chronic illness, what great work you're doing. And I want people to know that. I'm going to put a link to Heather's tutoring company in the podcast description so you can see more of what she's doing. And I'll put a link to her book as well. and you should check it out. It's, again, available on Kindle, and it is available in paperback, which is what I just read. So that wraps up the main part of our show, and as always, we are going to have the Crimson and Ava Show. Welcome to the Crimson and Ava Show, starring Crimson Jack Acorn and Ava Honeysuckle. In tonight's episode, we find Crimson Jack Acorn studying vocabulary words by himself using flashcards. Well, I didn't like how last time Ava simply walked away. She was giving me a quiz to see how smart I was, and I think I was doing quite well. I think I got 4 out of 5, and she just left. I just walked away. Well, I'll show her. I went out and got a bunch of flashcards, and I'm going to study really hard. I told her 57 hours last time, and she didn't believe me. Well, I'm going to study for 5 minutes. Here we go. The first word. Let's see what the first word is. How do I pronounce this? Sesquipilliodon. Yes, nailed it. What does this mean? I'm not going to look at the back. I'm just going to close my eyes and... okay, I know what it means. It's a rare tropical bird. I think that's what it is. That walks on precisely 1.5 legs. Yep, that's what it is. Very elegant. I'm going to walk up to her and say, Miss Ava Honeysuckle, you are as balanced as a sesquipillia pond. Perfect. She'll swoon. Wonderful. Next card. Can't pronounce it. Next card. Cantankerous. Cantankerous. I've heard this word before. I think she said I was cantankerous once, or maybe she was asking for a cantankerous. Sounds like a rare piece of fruit found in some rich person's orchard. That's probably what it is. I'll use it in a sentence. Miss Honeysuckle, I have brought you a fresh piece of peeled cantankerous. I hope you enjoy it. Got it. Perfect. I'm going to be 2 for 2. Next card. Discombobulate. There's the word comb in there, so it's got to have something to do with fur. Discombulate. It must mean something to do with combing. It must be elegant, of course. The elegant act of organizing one's fur with a brush. That's probably what it is. After an emotional collapse, I'm sure that's what it is. Let me try this. Excuse me, Miss Ava Honeysuckle. While I discombobulate my fur after you were upset with me. I'm sure that she will find that quite sophisticated. I'm sure that's perfect. All right. I think I'm 3 for 3. 3 for 4. I didn't look at that one card. I couldn't pronounce it. Card number 5. Persnickety. Well, this sounds like something that... It sounds like tea. Like that you would drink it. I'll have a cup of persnickety. Thank you very much. Perfect. I've got this one nailed. So that's 4 for 4. Oh, this one's perfect. Cattywampus. Well, that's that stupid cat that lives on McGregor's farm. It's Cattywampus. Absolutely. It chases me around all the time, particularly during rainstorms. And that's all we need to know. That is a Cattywampus, without a doubt. Ava will be dazzled that I finally figured out its name. All right, what's this next card? Loquacious. Quave. Must be about a wave. Or it could be a creature that lives in the ocean. And it's luscious. Got a luscious on the end there. Loquacious. Maybe it's an adjective. You are loquacious, like a beautiful ocean that just rolls across the sand. That's exactly what Miss Honeysuckle, you are so loquacious tonight. You're beautiful. Perfect. I'm perfect. Look at that. I'll be 6 for 6. Oh, the next one's easy. Bombastic. I mean, look at me. I am bombastic. My tail is simply bombastic today. Yours is bombastic. We are 2 bombastic raccoons, aren't we? Exactly. Perfect. Next one, nefarious. Well, this one is Dimitri. We can just point at him and go, that man right there. And now I'm turning into his accent. I shouldn't even do that. Miss Honeysuckle, if there was ever a raccoon in these parts that was dangerous and nefarious, who do you think it would be? Of course it was Dimitri, right there. He is a gentleman who is dangerous. Perfect. The next card, ludicrous. Well, ludicrous. It sounds like licorice, something they probably have in the bowling alley. It's probably a candy. I think that's probably what it is. It's a brand of candy. Miss Ava Honeysuckle, I invite you to come with me to the bowling alley to find some ludicrous. I think you'll find it marvelous. It's not a nefarious activity. It'll be simply bombastic. And then, once you eat it, you will look loquacious. And we have to watch out for cattywampus. But once we're done with that, we can have some persnickety because the team will make it sound wonderful. But do not get any of that ludicrous on your fur. Otherwise, we'll have to discombobulate it and get that ludicrous right out of your fur. And, you don't like the sweetness, then we can have some cantankerous. That's that fruit that I was telling you about. It's sweet. Actually, it's kind of sour, actually. And finally, we'll go back to that sweet, I can't even pronounce card number 1, but I got 9 out of 10 there. I think she'll be quite impressed with me. Oh, look, here she comes now. We'll do this on episode 21. Thank you for listening to episode 20 of Trash Panda Publishing's podcast. It's been quite an adventure, and I'm amazed that I actually made it to episode 20. I hope you'll join us tomorrow for episode 21 when Lulu Smiles will be here. We are potentially this weekend going to be, I'll be helping her get her book into Kindle form. And so we have talked about her book before being paperback only, but I'm crossing my fingers that soon, we will have her book in Kindle form. So see you tomorrow night. Thanks for listening to Trash Panda Publishing Podcasts. And like all raccoons, stay curious.